welcome to another video here on the Critical Focus channel. First off, a big shout out to all my members who support my work and keeps the paint flowing and the electricity running. Members do get access to the member Discord, will influence the content, the matchups, whatnot. There is a join button below if you feel so inclined. But regardless, I am happy for your support in the form of actually just watching the video, of a like and a comment, and if you haven't already, please do feel free to subscribe as well. And if you are looking to buy Warhammer merch, there is an affiliate link in the video description as well. Let's get on with the video. Hi gang, this is a new series that has existed a while as a brainchild sort of, but some really awesome pictures from my members on the Discord pushed me over the edge, and here I am with what is hopefully an ongoing series of me simply showcasing what my members and friends, and I for that matter, have been painting lately. I'm a very average painter at best, but being surrounded by so much talent really inspires you to push that extra mile, and even an old hack like me have seen some improvement of late years being surrounded by all these great painters. I still very much paint to get stuff on the board and to complete my warbands and armies before I'm playing with them. But that being said, we all have very different focuses with the hobby. Some just like to play, some like to build, some like to paint. And we all have varying degrees of experience, time, etc. And that's very fine. So let's kick this off with what I've been working on first, so that we can get me out of the way. And this first installment will probably reach a little more than a month, say, back to give you a juicy first installment of this. So army-wise, my focus lately has been Nurgle and Slaanesh, which are obviously two very different armies to paint, with Nurgle being this really relaxed splash paint and go crazy kind of a deal. Here we see the Glotkin, or at least the bigger brother of them. I have since finished the model, but don't really have a decent photo of the triumvirate right now. This was a lot of fun to paint, really relaxed with washes, wet blends, contrasts and oils, and yeah, a big pool of bile on the base there. On the flip side, and totally not enjoyable, at least not while painting, is my kind of Slaanesh Spearhead Plus with the Lord of Hubris and the Dread Pageant as additions so far. I'm still painstakingly working my way through the last pile of Blitzbarb Archers, which I totally hate to paint, and they are probably the most horrible thing I've ever painted. For Underworlds, I've recently had the chance to repaint some warbands that I didn't really spend enough time on the first time around, so I'm very thankful for that opportunity. First up is Crimson Court, which I wanted to do something different with, other than the classic red kind of armor there, and I decided to go with this turquoise metallic scheme. Basically it's Pterodon turquoise over a base of Iron Warriors, which I think turned out fairly decent, pretty much as expected, and I really like the way the turquoise ties together with the kind of Dark Witch gold here. Another warband at which I totally made a mess of the first time around, and a fair few of the models are broken and the bats are missing, is the Grimwatch, and I went with this fairly normal kind of skin tone theme with them, with the addition of the red hands and feet wet blended to make them pop a bit more. Pretty much only Flesh Tear's red contrast paint wet blended on top of the finished skin, and I also added a very thinned out kind of green contrast paint over the entire of the model after finishing it to give it this sickly look. A simple scheme that had me finish the warband in an evening or so. Perfect for me, really. Lastly, here's a couple of the rats from Sickit's Tunnel Pack, with the Ed Rat Scissor Paws, I guess, being my favorite by far. I just love that creepy pose he has. That's enough about me. Let's move over to my brilliantly talented friend Dennis, who is a tattoo artist by trade and has an art degree in his pocket as well, and it really shows in his crisp painting. He's not only extremely talented, but he's also really humble, and he also paints to a very high standard with speed, which is even more impressive, but he wouldn't admit that himself. Dennis plays a lot of AOS, but I've also recently handed off some spare warbands to him, as I know he'll do a cracking job with them. Let's check out some of his recent work for AOS here before we continue with some Underworlds warbands. Here's some lovely shots of his noble knights of the Flesh Eater Courts, including that fantastic Ushuran centerpiece. Moving on over to the cruel side of things, here's some snaps of his Cruel Boy Spearhead, recently featured here on the channel. Those vibrant jungle bases are fantastic and works so well for the Cruel Boys, especially as some of the built base elements for them look a little too cartoony for my taste. Yeah, these look great, and that turquoise is, yeah, awesome. Moving over to Underworlds, he recently finished the Court Chosen of Drom. Drom, however, was a warband he had previously, but look at these gorgeous corn worshippers with that popping purple skin. I would have never thought of that myself, but it works so well, and I love that dark rich gold as well. Another warband he had previously, before I piled stuff on him, was Ephelim, and just look at those smooth blends and those vibrant colors on all of those members of the Pandemonium. Just stunning. I then entrusted him with some decapitating ghosts, which I already had and didn't need a double of, and I waited with anticipation with what he was going to come up with, and this is the result. The classic blue ethereal ghost wisps paired with the heavily textured cowls in orange and browns. There's so much detail work on those cloaks and cowls, and they look even better in real life. Wonderful work. By the way, if you want to see more of Dennis's work, check him out on Instagram at Malphas Paints Minis. He deserves way more followers than the algorithm has blessed him with so far. My other partner in crime is a little bit slower and has recently had a rather extended break from painting, but he has recently found his mojo again, and I'm very happy for that. He's a very dear friend, he's wonderfully talented and very meticulous with his painting. Here is his exquisite whip on the Gore Hulk from the Gore Chusnodrome. I think he has since more or less finished the warband, so you'll probably see that in the next installment. Yeah, very crisp work here. Please encourage Matias to paint more. People equally close to my heart, but a little further away geographically, are the members that post their stuff on my Discord, and let's take a look at what they've cooked up lately. First up, we have Eggywegs, one of my longest time members, and he's supported me so much, not only by being a member, but also with great input and ideas for content. He was the one who suggested I do member deck reviews, for example. Yeah, he's a great guy, and I mean, he's even sent me stuff all the way from Winnipeg. Absolutely top person. Here is his work on the Skinnikin, which is one of his favorite warbands, and they are looking suitably disgusting, wouldn't you say? He's also recently completed his Dread pageant. I love that metallic light purple. Great job for sure. Steve is a great community contributor over there in Canada and demos both Underworlds and Warcries and organizes events, etc. to make the local scene grow there. Real nerd hero. Steve is also lucky enough to have a wife that plays and paints, and here's her Angry Girls of the Arena. I love that Griselle is rocking that pink hair, don't care. An old Belgian otaku has whipped up some of the most disgusting models I know from the Underworlds. I really think Drippers look horrible, but his paint job is certainly very fine. I love his style of painting with these stylized, sort of cartoony highlights as seen here on the base. I think it works really well. Great job, man. He also painted up some sweet Chaos Dwarfs for Blood Bowl in striking blue. Those burned numbers on the base looks really nice. Top job. Piotr Frakowiak is working on his Stormcast detachment in the scheme of the Hallowed Knights, I guess. These are looking really crisp and classic. Great job. Working your way through all that trim is a bit of work, I know that. But yeah, great progress there. Moving on to my countryman, Andreas Karlsson here from Sweden, but he's currently living in Poland and playing at the local scene there. And here is his fantastic looking Fink Steelers of Dagok. How good are these really? This stylized NMM is doing wonders for the look here. So much to compliment here really. I love the greenish tint on Herc's horn, that shield on the back of Dagok, the face plate on Jugs. Great work, and yeah, the warband as a whole looks fantastic, and I look forward to seeing more of you. His brother has finished as a finalist in Golden Demon a couple of years back, so it's no surprise really to see talent run in the family. Great job there. Lastly, we have my newest member, Zwiebelzack, which I suppose means something less than savory in German after a quick Google, but I might be wrong on that. Anyway, he tells us he usually lets his wife paint all his stuff, but this time he had to paint it for himself for the first time. And if those are some of your first models, I applaud you, sir. These Seraphon are looking really good in highly saturated blue, with the Old Blood Clacktrock in a darker shade and the Chameleon Skin Gottapatl in contrasting red. So yeah, that's it for this episode. I really enjoyed doing this one, so if you enjoyed it as well, please let me know and encourage me to continue with this series, I guess. Yeah, and please give it up for all these wonderful community members. Leave a like if you liked it, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.